I definitely think we're heading in that direction. With having the time that we have nowadays over the summer to spend a few hours with the guys throughout the weeks, I think that has definitely helped, and it has allowed our guys to kind of pick up where we left off this spring. And now we're kind of getting into. We started real elementary, but now we're getting into the middle school and trying to get into the high school stuff right now as well.
Who's emerging as leaders in your room?
I would say it's multiple guys. Deshaun is being more vocal than what he has been in the past, which is good to see. Marquise, he's always been a vocal guy, so he's doing a good job as well. And there's a couple of the other guys that we're trying to, push to do a little more. Malcolm, he's a really quiet guy, but I do see Malcolm at times pulling guys off to the side and coaching them up, so that's definitely a step in the right direction. And then Sierra is another guy that is emerging as a leader in that room, and he does the same thing as Malcolm, pulling guys off to the side, and he's also becoming a bit more vocal in front of the room as well. So I would say those four guys are the ones that are standing out as leaders.
How does Deshaun fit into your scheme? How do you want to use him this year?
Deshaun is a Swiss Army knife. The one thing about him, he's very unique with his size, his height, his length, his weight, his ability to come down and make tackles, his ability to cover in space, his ability to tackle in space. And so he's going to be a guy that is all around the field doing a lot of things. And Coach Butler is going to do a good job of putting our guys that we have tagged as our playmakers in position to do what they do best and affect the game.
You guys moved Donovan Jones to safety maybe a little bit. Like how is he adjusting to not just maybe being a pure corner? What do you like about his skill set?
Donnie's similar to Deshaun. He's a big, strong, fast, physical guy. And Donnie, he's one that safety is really his natural position. That's what he really enjoys playing. Corner is a position that he's really learned to play over the last year. And he's going to be a guy that we can really use at both. He's one of our better players on defense, we feel like, and as long as he continues to progress the way that he is, he'll definitely continue to play both spots, and he's doing a good job mentally with that right now.
It's a good problem to have, but is it going to be challenging to figure out how to get everybody who can play and is capable of playing onto the field for your second year?
Yeah, that's for sure. And like you said, that is a good problem to have, but just part of that daily process and guys coming in, who's been the most consistent. Who's been the most productive, and as a staff, we'll get together and we'll figure out, okay, these are our best 5 guys, and those will be the first 5 guys that go out there. But at the same time, Coach Rule is big on development and playing a lot of guys, so you'll definitely see a lot of guys playing the secondary that have earned their right to play.
You know who the best 5 are right now, like in your mind?
I really do not, man. Those guys are battling. And one thing that we're doing, we're mixing the groups up quite a bit, and not just mixing up the 1s, 2s, and 3s, but mixing the groups as different guys playing with each other. And so just seeing which guys fit the best, what chemistry the best, who communicates the best with each other. So we're definitely still in the process of figuring that out.
On Saturday, Matt mentioned Andrew Marshall and just how he liked his pro mentality, just how he takes things on. What have you seen from him this offseason?
Drew is a pro. He's a pro. I 100% agree with Coach Rule on that. And the one thing about Drew is that he has that chip on his shoulder coming from an FCS school, and he feels like, hey, I should have been here before now. But now that but he's not holding that as a grudge, against anybody else, but he's taking it and using that as motivation from a standpoint as, hey, I'm here now, so I'm going to go prove myself. And he has that mentality, whether we're in the weight room, whether we're running gassers, film room, wherever we're at, he has that mentality. He's a real competitor.
You have this many defensive backs and you're trying to figure out spots. Like, what are going to be the separators for you and the coaching staff to sort of determine who's where?
I would say the way that guys communicate, the physicality that they play with, the effort that they play with, and who can consistently execute on the high level. And then when you got a lot of guys execute on the high level, then you go, who's going to make plays? At the end of the day, who's going to make plays on the football? Because at the end of the day, playing a defensive back position, if guys want to earn more NIL money, if guys want to play in the National Football League, you got to make plays on the football. And so that would be the deciding factor in the end.
What's your comfort level with the corners right now in asking them to play a lot of man-to-man coverage?
Every day we're working it. Every single day we're working man techniques, and the guys they have bought into it. They're believing in it, and we're not perfect at all, and we still got a ways to go, but we're definitely headed in the right direction.
In the media days, Deshaun Singleton talked about fall production and how that's something that's talked about every day. Just how big a deal is that, getting more takeaways, or what does that mean to you?
It's a huge deal. Well, one thing we want to do is win the turnover margin. Protect the ball on offense, but take the ball away on defense. And if you look at the top teams, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country, if you look at the turnover margin, the guys that is plus. The more plus, they probably won a lot more football games. And I think it was 4 or 5 teams in the playoffs that were top 10. And so that's what we're thriving to do, protecting on offense and defense, taking it away. And again, as a defensive back position, everybody can cover, everybody can tackle. Just talking about around the country, but if you want to have that opportunity to play at the next level, you got to be able to take the ball away. And there's multiple guys in it, like Trayvon Diggs. A lot of people give him a lot of flack, but the one thing that he do is take the ball away. And he take the ball away, he got $100 million. And so that's what it's all about, getting the football back to the offense and giving them more opportunities to score.
Coach, I guess on the flip side of that, going up against some of the receivers and Dylan obviously as a quarterback, how much of a challenge has that been, and how beneficial is that to prepare for the season?
It's been a challenge. It's been a challenge. I wish you guys could have been out there today. Those guys made some unbelievable catches, and Dylan made some unbelievable throws. But the biggest thing is iron sharpens iron, and that's one of the big recruiting tools that we use, you know, with trying to get guys here. You're going to play against high-level guys on the other side of the ball every single day. You're going to play against a high-level quarterback every single day. So why not come here and be a part of this? And so we're definitely – it's a battle every single day at practice between the offensive guys, skill guys, and the defensive skill guys.
You've been around a lot of camps in your career. What is different about Nebraska since you've been here now? Kind of been around practice.
This is no knock on anybody. I've been in some really great places and worked for some really good football coaches, but the culture here is unbelievable. And just the locker room, I would say it's probably one other time I've been around something. That was 2020 when I was at Coastal Carolina. That was a really special year. And it was COVID, so it was a lot going on that year. But just how close the guys are in the locker room and how we can go out there and we battling every single day. But as soon as the whistle blow, coach calls everybody's hugging and they're in the locker room playing around and joking around. It's really, really powerful to see the guys coming together like that. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing.
Saturday, Coach Roll talked about you guys have 9 practices in pad. You know, over the years, it used to be 2 days, a lot more physical. You talked about physicality as a key part of your defense. How do you teach that in just 9 practices?
So we are in uppers for more than that. So we do have those times where, you know, not just tackling to the ground, but the main thing, and I believe I might have said this in the spring as well, but the one thing that we start with from a defensive back play is block destruction and tackling. All right, tackling the proper way, but first getting off blocks, because I'm real big on with the way that the field is spread, and then guys just throwing, whether they're throwing a flare to the running back or throwing a screen to the wide receiver. And if we don't come up and be able to defeat blocks, you taking a -2 yard play or 0 yard gain and making it 10 or 15 yards. We never even got to worry about them throwing the ball down the field at that point. So that's where we start. And being physical, it's a mentality. It's a mentality. It's something that's learned. You know, we're not just born tough, but it's something that's learned over time, and you just got to get in that mindset that this is a physical game. And so our guys have definitely taken to that.
Coach Williams, you got 3 players in your room that earned single-digit jerseys last year, and they're looked at as leaders on the defense. Just how is maybe your room stepping up across the entire defense as a leader?
Like I said, the one that I would say probably speaks out the most is Marquise. He's one that speaks out the most, and he has command. He really do. The guys respect him, and I think that's because of the way that he work and just what he's been through his time here. And when he's on the field, he's a productive player. Deshaun is one that we're still just grooming in that role, and he's definitely coming out of his shell, and I think he'll be one that'll be able to lead us this year as well.
The other transfers that you brought in, you mentioned Marshall, but Justin Rhett and Jameer Khan, are they in a spot to be challenging for time in the rotation right now?
Yes, they both, for one, are doing a really, really good job. They worked their tails off this summer. Obviously, Jameer missed the spring, but he was always locked in on what was going on from a mental standpoint. And he this summer worked his tail off, and he's gotten himself back healthy a little faster than what, you know, the normal timeline would be. And he's doing a good job, and Justin Rhett's doing a good job as well.
Coach, when you talk about the battles with the wide receiver group, the one-on-ones, how physical you guys want to be, sometimes that can bleed over into extracurriculars after the whistle happens Saturday. How do you balance them being tough, physical, and confident with not doing something dumb?
Anytime we step on the field, it's physicality between the whistles, but once that whistle's blown, we got to have poise and confidence to be able to reset and go to the next play, and so constantly preaching that. Thank you, guys.
When you how multiple y'all want to be and how many different packages you want to play defensively, kind of how important is like run fits, or kind of is there been an emphasis on run fits for the safeties? 100%.
Safeties, nickels, corners, because at this point And the way football is played now, everybody has to make tackles. And like, yeah, the safety may have the B gap or he had the A gap, but as he comes down, now the wide receiver's coming to crack him to force the corner to make a tackle. So that's all we're all back 5 guys in the secondary. We're constantly working on run fits for sure. All right, appreciate you all.
Coach Butler next, and we'll bring a couple players in. We may have a player or two in the lobby here too, so.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Good.
How can I help you?
In terms of the physicality the defense has shown, just where do you feel that's at and what's the tackling look like?
What's the tackling look like? Yeah, I would say from a physicality standpoint, that's just something we got to keep working every day. I think we've had, maybe this is our second full padded practice. We've had a couple practices in uppers, you know. But it's, to me, I think I've said this before, but football is such a unique game in that you can practice, you know, all off season and lift and train weights, but the contact aspect of this game and how it's being limited, you know, by NCAA rules, and even when you're in the NFL, like the NFLPA, you can only have so many contact days, so you got to maximize those. So, you know, we're working a lot of thud and just strong, you know, thud tackles now, and eventually we'll get to some live to the ground stuff, but you got to have that balance of maximizing the physicality of your whole team, but our defense, but at the same time keeping everybody healthy. So I think it's a work in progress.
Coach, when you build a defense, what's the right amount of number of players to kind of rotate into a game when you kind of try to build a lineup?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as many good players as you have, right? So, you know, the defensive line rotates. You know, we try to rotate as many people as we can. I don't think there's a set number, but I think you'd like to be like at least 3 deep at corner and then 2 deep at each safety position, kind of have a rotational aspect of your D-line. So I don't have like a number in my head as far as like a whole number, but you've obviously got to have backups and then backups to those backups, which we, you know, like in today's practice, we repped a lot of those younger players, trying to get them up to speed and get them up to the standard. So I think, you know, depth is huge, but as far as the number, I can't really maybe give you that.
On that subject, John, you guys were able to rely last year up front on Ty and Nash to play a ton of snaps. How do you feel about the guys, the frontline guys you have this year in those positions, and how they can hold up if they need to do something similar? And then also, what does the depth look like behind them?
I think our D-line is heading in the right direction. Terry's doing a great job with you know, Coach Phil as well, just getting those guys ready. You know, obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that, you know, Nash and Ty are one type of players, and the guys we have are their own style, and they have their own strengths, and that's our job as coaches, is to maximize their value based on their skill set within our scheme, you know. So we're young there, but I'm encouraged that those guys are developing, made some impact plays out there today, both in the run game and the pass game. You know, and, you know, this is a process and development program, so everybody is going to keep getting better every single day, the D-line specifically. And, you know, we all know to be good on defense, you got to have a good D-line, so that's what we're going to keep working towards.
Did you talk to those guys at all, John, about the narrative, you know, the kind of
No,
pervasive
no, I would say
narrative?
no. We don't, like, I don't want to interrupt you, I apologize, but we don't care what anybody else says outside of this building. We really don't even address that there is a narrative. Now, we're not fools. We realize that these kids, you know, they're on social media and they have people in their ears, but our message to them is constantly about what we do on a daily basis, you know, detailing and kind of highlighting their performance and then their development and improvement so they can see it as they're getting better, where they were here and where they are now, and then where they obviously need to be. But, you know, what the outside says about any of us really doesn't have an impact on what we're doing. What has an impact on what we're doing is what we're doing here every single day, about our execution, our physicality, our techniques, our ability to finish plays, and our ability to, you know, develop players and get them to believe.
Coach, I mean, moving over to coordinator, I mean, can you explain a little bit about what the process has been like taking over the unit as a whole?
I know that I'm not around the players as much as I like. You know, one of my favorite things, you know, I mean, I am out at practice. I am, obviously. But during the daily, there's a heavy burden of organization, of making sure that we're all aligned based on Coach Rule's message and Coach Rule's desires as far as where he wants our defense heading. Planning for walkthroughs, planning for practices, scripting. So that's just a process that's, is cumbersome at times, but requires time. So I would say the biggest difference is just the opportunity to get around the players on a daily, but I've got to make that happen more, whether it's me being in meetings when I can be, or me eating with them at meals, interacting with them maybe outside of the football arena on the field. I had C.R. Wright came to me the other day and told me he missed me. I think he was joking, but that was his way of probably busting my chops a little bit about I'm not in his meeting room yelling at him like I was last year, but I made sure that I took it out of him on the field the last couple of days.
What do you think of your linebackers right now?
I think they're developing. I think they're good. I think they're young. They're getting better. I think the guys we're rotating really. We have a 3 deep right now of obviously our oldest players, Javen, but we got some good young players that have juice and have energy and play physical and getting a lot of reps. So I think that aspect of our team, we have good depth. Rob's doing a good job. We just got to keep grinding.
I know Dawson Merritt, we saw him a little bit. He's a true freshman. It's hard, right, to adjust. But have you seen him develop over the?
I think he's made some strides over the last couple of days that have kind of excited us. He's obviously was a highly recruited player that for all the right reasons, because great family, great background, great player. And I think he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable in the system. Being out last spring with not really being involved because of the shoulder. I think he's now catching up. But I would say he's a player as well as a lot of those other guys that we're excited about in that room.
Matt used the phrase on Saturday, competitive stamina, kind of when you get into week 2 and 3 of fall camp. What's your message to your guys sort of in this maybe grind portion of August?
Right. You have to find a way to compete every day. Nothing about what they do out there is easy, right? So it's easy to compete on game days because there's 86,000 people there and, everybody's watching and, obviously have a new opponent, but it's these dog days of training camp where you have to compete every single day to build up that stamina. So you're not just saying, well, I'll wait till game day. It's no different than your techniques. It's no different than your execution of the defense. You have to build that up, build that callus up of contact, build that callus up of competitiveness so that you have more of it than your opponent. I believe that's a thing that we have to keep building and have to keep developing.
That's a big veteran offensive line. How would you characterize those battles between the offensive line and your D line?
I wouldn't disagree with it's not my job to give an evaluation of the offensive line, but I would say that they are big and they're good. And I think that's good for us because obviously the better competition you go against at every position across the field, the better your players are going to get. I think our offensive line does a very good job of working together as a unit, and therefore we have to combat that with how we're, whether we're executing movements, whether we're executing blitzes, whether we're playing base techniques. I think going up against a strong unit like that every day can only improve that competitive stamina you just mentioned, that toughness that we're trying to build, that physicality, because at the end of the day, I think that, if practice is the hardest thing you're doing, when you go into the games, you're going to have, an opportunity for success. So it's great that, I really feel like we're competing at a high level at every position, receivers versus DBs, running backs versus linebackers, O-line versus our front seven. I think that's been a great competitive aspect of our program over the last 8 practices that I think is just going to get us ready for the first game and then every game.
Coach, how have you seen Coach Williams take over the secondary room and just really be crafting some leaders in that room?
Yeah, I think Addie's very smart. I think one of the best things about Addie is he's, whether it's with me or whether it's Coach Rule, he's whatever the message is, it's I got it, and he understands it, and he then brings it to the players. Very happy with how he's been working with the DBs, him, Coach Snow, Coach DeMichael. They're all doing a great job of, that's a big room. We have 25 guys in there, so we have to kind of break it up. And I work with him a little bit when I can, but not as much as maybe I'd like. But yeah, he's doing a very nice job, very good job. He's a great addition to our staff.
About just overall right now, is that competition aspect?
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to say what we're doing best because then that kind of opens the door for maybe they don't think they're doing this well. But I think that we know who we want to be defensively from a culture standpoint. We want to be physical. want to run to the ball like nobody's ever seen, and we want to make plays and finish. From an execution standpoint, we've kind of gotten out of the install realm, meaning like you're installing these plays, and when you're installing something, you're still as a player trying to figure it out. Now you're more into, okay, those defenses are installed. Now it's polishing them. It's working on executing them better, playing them with more physicality so they can play faster and they can execute those plays better. I know I heard Dana say like it's about making the routine plays. There's no real magic in football. I'm not going to come up with a defense that nobody can block, because if there was one, every defensive coordinator in the country would run it. So it's really about just working that process, holding the players to the standard, and then building that unit constantly of, just like I talked about the O-line, how well they work together. A great defense collectively as 11 all works together. They know where the strengths and weaknesses of each call are. They play to them, and then they work like hell every day to communicate and work together.
Coach, another one of your newcomers, Williams Winery, comes in with a lot of potential, but also still relatively young. What does he need to work on in this fall camp in order to actually see the field this year?
Williams is going to see the field, so I can tell you that. He's a good player that has a huge upside, that just needs to kind of keep working in this grind of this program at Nebraska that is going to fortify him into a grown man on the field and off. So I think that all the accolades that Will has received previous to come to Nebraska are warranted, but his day-to-day here has, through our strength staff, through our player development staff, through our coaches, has kind of made an impact on him. And I think that if he keeps heading in the right direction, we're going to be excited about what Will continues to be, not what he is now.
Hey, Coach, with a week of practice under your belt, is there an area or areas that you've kind of looked at right away and said, hey, this aspect needs to improve?
I think I'll use the same answer I kind of used when I was asked about what we're doing well. I think it's all like, yes, I do know that. I think, but at the end of the day, like, it's about getting better at every single thing. And then if there's certain things that need more attention, that's all we're going to do. So if it's the run defense on a certain day or a couple sets of days, then we'll make sure during walkthrough and during our extra time we're really hitting that. But what happens is if you overcompensate one for the other, then all that ends up happening, you fix this problem and then another one persists, But, we got to stop the run, we got to affect the quarterback, and we got to take the ball away. And those are all the things every single day that I'm kind of on a broader scope am looking at to make sure our run defense from the fundamentals and the scheme and how we play is where it needs to be. Our ability to affect the quarterback to get him, we have a very good quarterback here and he sees a lot of defense. And so it's good that, we have conversations with him and our offensive staff about what they're seeing. That helps us, helps me. But affecting the quarterback's a huge piece, because when you do that and you stop the run, then you get yourself in position to take the ball away, which is the ultimate neutralizer in football.
Going back to the bowl game through now, what have you kind of seen from Jordan Ochoa?
I think he's getting better. I think he's a player that I guess I would say that when I was coaching the secondary, I really didn't have an idea of who he was. But then when I took over during the bowl practice, I mentioned to Coach Rule and mentioned to Coach Phil Simpson. They're like, oh, this dude, I don't know who he is, but he runs around, he's fast, he's athletic. And, then we put him in the bowl game, because I think that's what happens. Coach Rule talks about it, what gets measured and emphasized, measured and rewarded gets done. So, like, I measured him, like, shit, this guy can run. All right. And we're going to talk about him. That's what we want you to do. And so we put him in the game as a pass rusher with limited experience. Then after that, we're like, okay, can you evaluate him, and can he play a certain position, which I think he's continuing to get better at. So him along with other players at that position, he's definitely a guy that's in the mix for us. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.
Glad you've now been here for a few years. I mean, what's jumped out about this camp as far as just where this defense is at with the new coordinator going into the season?
I think everybody this time around is more on board than I feel like we were last year. Everything's coming together. I feel like some of the first-year guys are starting to make me feel like they're in their third year, if that makes sense. They're picking up on everything fast and learning the playbook fast. That way we're able to play fast and make plays.
Just what's it like going to the camp for you personally when I think you're in the best shape you've been since you've been here, and just that feeling of like you see the opportunity in front of you?
It feels great. We've been working like all off season for this, all spring and all summer for this. So I just gotta take advantage of it while I can.
What kind of physical changes have you made?
Right now, just trying to lose weight. That's my main goal right now. I came back like around 310, so I'm down at 300 right now. The goal is 295, so I'm close.
What have you seen from the other guys besides the main 3 or 4? We always talk about you guys who lead that room, but what are you seeing from others to help build up depth?
Are you talking about from the D-line? Same thing like I said before. The guys are learning the plays really fast. Cade is coming along. Even though Tyson's hurt, he's learning the plays. He knows what he's doing. Even though he's not playing, he's getting his mental reps. Same thing for Malcolm. So the young guys are coming along. They're going to help us when they come back.
With that lost weight, do you feel quicker, slimmer?
A little bit, yeah. Losing weight is mainly so that I can have more stamina, because I was my stamina was bad when I was real heavy, so that's really the main reason why.
What's it like learning from Coach Terry Braden?
It's really intense, fast. It's high energy. We go by the room, no energy vampires. So, he brings the energy every day. Even when I don't got it, he got it. If I got it and he don't got it, I'm gonna give it to him. The same thing, vice versa.
Did you say vampires?
Yeah. Energy vampire.
What have the practice battles look like between D-line and O-line going up against each other? What's that look like?
It gets pretty intense. We all want to make each other better. After every practice, sometimes we debrief during practice. I was talking to Henry about what he could do better for his better sets, and same thing, I asked him, what can I do better to be a better pass rusher? So we're all helping each other at the end of the day.
What impact has Coach Butler had on the defense? New coordinator, kind of how have you seen his?
It's just high intensity, high energy. Right now our goal is just to attack. Every point of a play, we're going to attack him. That's our goal.
Did you know him much last year when he was a position coach and you're on the D-line? Did you interact with him much last year?
Yeah, he's a Philly guy. We connect on that part. So when we have time to where we're not really doing anything, we do sit and talk and stuff. So yeah.
I know you guys don't look much about outside noise, but when you look at the guys you lost with your ties and Nashes, how much, and people talking about what you lost, how much more motivation or a chip is there to show what you guys do have and what you can prove?
Yeah, when we hear that, we just try to block it out, because right now it's focused on us, and right now we try to live in the present, not the past. What we're doing, our goal is to do better than we did last year. So in order for us to do that, we got to do one foot in front of the other and just worry about right now.
What kind of role have you seen Cam Leonard take just so far in camp as a leader, as an upperclassman now?
Yeah, he's taking a big role. He's a lot more vocal than he normally was. Even when he's not vocal, he's showing his leadership by example, just from him running to the ball, being on time to things we need, and helping the guys out when we really need help.
How was the married off season like?
It was great. I enjoyed it. During the off season, I was able to do my honeymoon. We went to Nebraska, Jamaica. I'm sorry. We had a great time. So yeah, it was pretty good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Riley, how much does it help going against that experienced O-line? And Elijah was saying how you can even trade ideas with each other sometimes after practices about what works and what doesn't.
I'd say it's helping me get to where I want to be as a player. You got those 5 guys that are going out there with the first team, and then you got 2 or 3 more that rotate in, and they're all high level, high experienced players. They've seen a lot. They've played against very talented people that have come here before me, but it's been the difference for me this camp. Going up against them, getting to sharpen my edges, sharpen my tools every day, every single day. I'll get the best of them, they get the best of me. I believe Rocco said it the other day, but it's kind of our motto: iron sharpens iron. And it's been a blessing because I was literally just talking to Henry about it in the locker room. I was like, hey, I want to sit down with you and see what you see when we're out there and it's 3rd and long or whatever, and I'm getting ready to rush. What do you see from me, like stuff I need to work on? And so just hearing that feedback from them, but then also just getting out there and going after it, going after them coming after me every play, it gets you better.
What's made John Butler a good defensive coordinator for you guys?
He's fiery. He's got a lot of energy. Sometimes it's kind of chaotic because you don't know where he's at. He's out there coaching. He's being the coordinator. He's coaching the back end. I love his play calls. He gets out and he's not afraid to send some guys at the offense. But he's great to have because he knows so much about the game. Sitting in his meetings, I think I learn something new every single day. I can probably sit here and list it all off, and sometimes I get lost because I don't even know what he's talking about. But he's amazing to have because he has confidence in all of us. But then, like I said, he's going to pin his hair back and he's going to go, and that's what he wants us to do. So it's been fun to follow behind that.
What kind of jump could Keona Davis, what kind of jump could he make in year 2 of this program?
Oh, he can make a huge jump. I tell him all the time, that's someone we're counting on. We have a really good room right now, and I think a lot of people are doubting us on the outside, but inside that room, we are very confident. We kind of have a chip on our shoulder, and we don't care what people say about us. We know who we are, and that's something I talk to him about all the time because we're close. We're locker buddies, and his locker's right next to mine. Is he played last year, and he did great, but it's like really just trying to instill some of the things that I learned from Ty and Nash into him and kind of pass it on because, you see him out there, he's a physical freak. He's a guy, he has a high motor, and he goes. And so just having a guy like that next to you it makes it a lot easier for me to play, and a lot easier for the rest of the room to play.
What do you think you got out of redshirting last year?
For me, the biggest thing from redshirting was, I'd say, to ease kind of my mental battle. The biggest thing for me in football has been the mental aspect of it, is just whether it's confidence, trusting yourself, overthinking on the field, this, that, and the third. But it's like redshirting last year was very hard, especially with the time it came. I thought I was going to have a big year. It came at a weird point, and then for me, it was just like I said last time I was up here, I had to embrace it fully. I had to accept it. I rolled with the punches. I realized, I said, I had 3 days on scout team to go out and play football. Why not make them the best 3 that I have? And then along with that, I didn't have pressure of like, I have to do this so I can perform on Saturday. It was, let me go have fun. I'm going to cheer my guys on Saturday. Let me go back and do it again next week. Let me just, like I said, work on some technique things, get some stuff down, and then it helped a lot because I'm going against the starting O-line. So it's those guys I'm going against now, Henry, Bryce, Ben, those guys that were here last year. Ben's, he's at the Bucks right now, and that's a guy I was going against every single day. So it helped me a lot.
For you personally, what are your expectations as a leader of the defense up front? And how do you go into this rest of camp just focused on being that leader?
Yeah, expectations for us, I know for me personally how I think of it is I just kind of want to shock the world with our D-line unit and with our defense as a whole. People have a lot of things to say about us. People aren't out there every day watching us go get after it. People don't know who we have in our room, new guys, young guys, whatever it is. But we get after it, and we're going to do that this year. We want to be one of the top defenses in the country, and I think we can easily do that. Not easily, but we very much have the capability to do it if we can just live to our potential and we can go out there and we can fly around.
How has Coach Braden maybe challenged you in different ways than you've been challenged with previous coaches?
Yeah, he's challenged me because every day, even when I don't have the confidence in myself, he has it in me. And so having a guy like that it makes all the difference in the world for your game. And it's when I look at myself as a player, it's why I'm where I'm at, because you know, I used to look at myself as kind of a run stopper guy, and I've sat in his office for 2 hours before and just talked to him, and he shows that I can be an all-around guy. I can go to the NFL, and he truly has that belief in me. So it's like on those days when I wake up and I'm like, can I do this? You know, I didn't have a great day yesterday. Can I do this? He doesn't care. He's like, I've seen it in you. I know you have it. Now I'm going to go get it out of you. So having a guy like that, I think it means the world to me, and I know to the rest of our room. And then along with that, his experience, his knowledge of the game, where he's been at, you know, you'd be an idiot to not listen to that guy. So
What's gone into your physical preparation this off season? What are your goals to try to carry a bigger workload?
Yeah, you know, this offseason, I think it was a great offseason for me. I was setting PRs and run faster than I ever have. I'm weighed more than I ever have. You know, lifting was great. I think for me, the big focus was try to lean up a little bit, just put on some straight muscle mass. I didn't want to just be a little chunky white guy out there. I wanted to look good. So that was my big focus, and I like where I'm at right now. For the first time in 3 years, I've held my weight through a week and a half of camp, so that's fun. I'm confident. I'm moving around great, I feel like. And then along with that, like this year, it's just, you know, Coach Rule showed us a text from Ty the other day and talked about at the Eagles, it's 100% every play. There's no plays off. So really seeing that is like take that to practice, give 100%, 110% every play. You know, whether it's a 50-yard fade, I got to run to that ball because at the end of the day, I have to get myself in shape to go out there and play down in and down out when the team needs me. And that's kind of what I expect from myself is to not tap out whenever it's crunch time. You know, we always talk about in the fourth quarter, we want to be the best team, and that's what our summer workouts, our winter workouts have prepared us for. And now it's going out there and practicing with that mindset of in the fourth quarter, in the final five, I'm going to be the sharpest and we're going to beat them down.
What is it like going against some of those interior linemen, not only the starters, but maybe some of those backups?
Yeah, it's great. You know, a few of those guys like Jason, Sam, Gibby, you know, those are guys that I came in here with. So I've been going against them too for 3 years. So it's like, you know, we know each other pretty well. But at the end of the day, they have game experience. They've been going against Ty and Nash, so they're really developed. And so there's not much of a drop-off, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's iron sharpens iron, and that's something we focus on so much as a team just because if I'm out there giving them the best look and they're giving me the best look, we're both going to get better. You know, sometimes they're going to win, sometimes I'm going to win, but that's what you want out of a good team. You don't want to be just one-side dominant because then you're not getting each other better.
He seems like a strong guy.
Yeah, he's a strong guy. He's fun to watch in the weight room. And out there on the field, he's strong. You get a hold of you. He's a big fella.
One of the newcomers in your room is Cade Peterjack. What have you seen from him, and do you think he has the stuff to potentially get some snaps during the season?
Yeah, I've seen a lot from him. You know, we always mess with him. He's still a freshman. He's trying to learn the ropes, and you know, we're trying to help him, guide him along, just teach him the little things. But he's explosive for a freshman. He's explosive. He's not scared. He's going to go out there and, you know, he's going to try to just run you over. So trying to get him away from, you know, I had to learn it my freshman year too, is you're not going to be able to outpower everyone now in the Big Ten, especially as a freshman. So he's learning well. He's taking everything we're telling him, everything TB's telling him. And I'm confident in him. I think we're going to need him this year, and I think he's going to be able to come out there and he's going to perform.
You mentioned that knowledge you learned from Ty and Nash. What's maybe the biggest thing you learned from those two, whether it be physical, mental, X's and O's?
I would say mental, really. Like, I mean, obviously I learned a lot watching their game, just sitting in meetings last year, watching their film and practice and games and all that. But I think mental, like I was talking to Nash before he went to camp, so it was back in July because he was here. And, you know, just talking about, like, you got to go out there and have fun. You can't make it more than it is. He told me that, he was like, when me and Ty were playing good last year, we're out there high-fiving, laughing, having fun, you know, goofing around. And so taking that aspect of it, but then you look at the flip side, and I look at how Ty had a year last year, and he came in and he kind of had that killer mindset every day at practice and on the field. So it's a good balance of having that edge, but then not taking it over the top to where you're tense and you can't perform.
Obviously, the pass rush developed thus far, maybe particularly some of those guys coming off the edge.
It's looking really good right now. Like I know today we had a great day. Can't wait to go watch the film on it all and see what we can still do better. I think that's one area people are really going to question us, but we know the work we put in, and like I said, you see where our coach came from and their pass rush abilities, and he's teaching us everything he taught them. So it's like we're taking that and we're applying it to the field. We're drilling it every day in Indy, and then we're applying it to the team periods, the one-on-ones, whether it's straight rushes, games, all of that. Like, I'm confident in our pass rush. That's our big focus right now is we want to get home to the quarterback. We have a number set, and that's what we're going to get. Like on our wall in the room, we have the numbers for, I think the career sack leaders here at Nebraska. We have the most they've had in a game, most they've had in a year, and it's like those are our numbers to beat. We're going to set those.
What have you done better in the first week and a half? You said to not drop any weight for the first time in your years at Nebraska. Like what's the reason for that?
I would say my hydration is really good, which I normally pretty good, but then I'll start to fall off. But I like to eat a lot. I think go to Culver's a lot. Went to Culver's last night, the night before. Probably shouldn't tell Kristen that, but I love the training table too. No, well, see, that's the thing. I have to have more than 3 meals a day. So really just out there, I know how much I burn. I just walked off the field and everything is soaking wet. So it's like spending the day replenishing. I can't tell you how much water I drink, the electrolytes, and then, have to eat a bunch of protein, a bunch of carbs to give me energy for whatever we got later in the day. And then just to refuel those muscles. And then again, we're still lifting now in camp. And those lifts are a little harder because they're post-practice. You don't really feel like going in there and doing it, but you have to. So, it's really just been honestly eating whatever I can to get back into it.
Thanks, Rod.
Guys such as Dylan Parrott, Ashton Murphy have been in the program with you for a few years. Where have you really seen them grow, not only from just this last offseason, but since you've been here?
Yeah, I've seen him grow a ton. Like I remember Ashton when he first came in, his first spring, which was 2 springs ago. Seeing him as a player and just as a character, as a person in the room, a little shy, wouldn't talk too much, but like now he has a personality off the field and on the field. He's someone I'm pretty close with, and I try to teach him some of the things I know. Like I'm still not that guy I'm not old and wise yet. Like I know some stuff and I try to pass it down. But he's grown unbelievably. He's out there playing, he's mixing in with the ones, with the twos. He's getting those reps, and so it's fun because like he's going against some of those guys like Henry and Rocco and Just, and so getting to see him go from where I saw him when he first got here, he's a completely different player. And then same thing with Dylan. He switched over from offensive line, and it was the same spring. It was 2 years ago, and I remember we put him in there in 9-on-7, and he was just sitting there 2-gapping as a nose. And then now he's way more than that. He's learning what TB's teaching us. They both are, and they're applying it to the field. And they're all around players. They're guys we're going to count on. They're guys I have confidence in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew, how has the transition been from just going from high-level FCS to the Big Ten?
For me, it's been very smooth. I say, coming from like the FCS program I did come from, we had a very like high level organization, very high level players that ended up making it to the NFL. So transition from there to coming here has been smooth. Just now working against more NFL talent, just being consistent on a day-to-day basis has been very smooth.
Why did you pick Nebraska?
I just think the way it was set up, just the way we're set up this year. I know everybody's talking about Coach Rule's, this third year, how everything is like major third year. I just think as far as me coming in, making an effect on the defense, everything was just aligned, as well as my coaching staff in my old school, just making Nebraska recommending Nebraska, just putting it in my view. So just all that included, I just felt like this is a nice place for me.
As high level as Idaho is and it has been, I'd imagine things are a lot different here.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference so far?
For me, I just like I said, just the consistent like NFL talent. Just everybody here is one mind, one goal. We're all trying to get to the same spot. So just on a day-to-day basis, having that everybody is competing. We all want to go to that high level spot. So just that level of competition on a day-to-day basis.
I'm sure you felt really good about your first year at Idaho, but to start the second year, you guys go to Oregon, took them to the wire. What did that do for your confidence? 'Cause you played really well that day. What did that make you think about what you were capable of?
It really confirmed what I already believed, just that I was ready for that level of competition. The game wasn't bigger than me, just really. I can compete on that level at a high level. So that really confirmed and really bumped up my level of confidence to finish out the season.
Did you go into that game knowing that was going to be an important moment for you personally and for your team?
Most definitely, yeah. The way our coaches went about it, I could tell you we felt like no sort of like we were an underdog going into it. So we had the highest level of confidence going into that game.
Andrew, even though in the eyes of many, because of that game, because of how you played all year and everything you've done here in 9 months, you've probably already proven yourself. Do you feel because you came from the FCS, because you maybe weren't recruited by Big Ten or Pac-12 schools out of high school, that there is a need for you out there to continue to prove yourself every day?
Most definitely. I think for me, it's just a constant chip on my shoulder, just that I belonged here in the first place, and now I'm at that level, and I'm here to prove what I already know is true.
What do you like about this defense and your role in it?
We're very versatile. We're very fast. We're very fast-paced defense, very smart, which allows us to play many different coverages and do a lot of shifts and disguises, which is required for a defense. So we're all very versatile. We can move all around the field. Very smart defense.
Are you hoping to have a role on special teams returns or anything like that?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, kick return, punt returner, whichever one it may be. I'm ready to do that.
What has Coach Eckler brought to that group?
Coach Eckler, he's how do I put it? He's ecstatic of lightning. Just coming into the special teams meeting, you're tuned in. He really takes pride in special teams. He really wants us and makes it helpful for us to really pay attention, really learn the small details. He makes it very exciting for us. So it's a want. You want to be on special teams.
What receivers give you the most fits in practice when you're matching up in practice?
I'd definitely say Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter. Most definitely competing against them both. It's very, very competitive in practice. Just going back and forth. They both have different techniques, which allows me to play differently against both of them. So line up against them, always got to have a plan for them. It's very competitive.
Coach Rule on Saturday had a nice compliment for you about just having a professional approach to things. When did that start for you as an athlete or as a football player? Where do you get that from?
I like to say it started at home, really, with my parents. Just however I attack things, just like to, keep a level of professionalism to it. You never want to have a certain image to you. You always want to, stay professional in settings like this. So I just take pride in always trying to be professional wherever I am.
does it help? You know, Sierra Wright transferred here last year and had success right away. Did he talk to you? Do you get some good guidance from him too?
Yeah, most definitely. When I came on my official visit, I talked to him and just really like seeing his input on things. And then when I came and I ended up committing, he was the first guy I went to. He's been very, very helpful to me, just guiding me through. Any questions I've had, I went to him, and he's been very helpful.
Is there a California connection between the two of you guys? Do you find yourselves, hanging out?
Most definitely, yeah. Just it's easier to connect with certain things just because we're both from the same area of California. So yeah, that connection is definitely there. I'm able to connect with him on many different things.
Do you guys have any kind of rivalry with the Florida guys? There's a number of them in the secondary and receiver.
I mean, I guess so. A little bit. Yeah, we do like to compete. Really. Yeah, I guess you really do like to compete with the Florida guys.
How did you end up at Idaho? Like, I mean, you were a 3-star recruit, so like I would have figured you would have went to like San Diego State or something like that. Why Idaho? Why Idaho?
Really. So I ended up at first I played receiver. I was like receiver first and then DB. I ended up making that transition my senior year to really playing DB and then playing receiver. So I was really kind of underlooked as far as the defensive position. I ended up getting an offer from Idaho that summer going into my senior year, and I just from the point I got that offer to all the way throughout my season, they were the most consistent, calling, checking up on me, seeing how I was doing. The coaching staff, they were really invested in me, had a plan for me. So when I went on my official visit, got to sit down with all the coaches, I really felt the love, genuine connection. So I just felt like that was the right spot for me to go.
What was it like going from where you grew up and played high school football to Moscow, Idaho?
Very different, from a big city, there's a lot of things going on all at once. For me, I think that was helpful, being able to go from always being surrounded by stuff to now not really having too many things to focus on except for football, which is really helpful for me.
How much have you talked with Josh Mitchell and how much advice has he given you just about playing here?
I talk to him on a consistent basis. I always call, just tell him what's going on, gives me advice whenever he can. Yeah, he's been very helpful for me though.
When you went from FCS to Big Ten, what were some of the amenities you got here that were pretty eye-opening compared to maybe what you had before?
Nutrition was a big one. Just the training staff. You just have a lot more access to things that can benefit you really. Most definitely, I think at my FCS program, I thought we had it good. I got here, and it was 10 times better. I'm you got more access to nutrition. There's new staff members that are here to help you, so it was very eye-opening.
This is all ours right here?
Yeah, I was really I get all this. All this is for my benefit. Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, at what point did you go from feeling like a transfer to a Husker?
Yeah.
What's that acclimation process been like for a lot of you transfer guys who are now really part of the team?
It's been smooth for me. I can say that they've definitely taken me in. I'm very appreciative from the staff to the players to even the community. They've been very welcoming, and so it's been a very easy transition.
Anything else for Andrew?
Andrew, I'm assuming you're competing with Ja'Cory in the return job and obviously in one-on-ones. How's that kind of relationship develop considering you guys are competing as much as you are?
Very smooth. Always a level of competition, just offensive, defensive wise, but we're just always there to push each other, make each other better. So I think that level of competition just allows for us to grow, and so whichever ones it turns out to be, we're always rooting for each other, rooting for the best.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, good.
What goes through your head when he's being very loud and excitable during special team stuff?
I think I'm I appreciate it. Just bringing not everybody can have that amount of juice on a consistent day-to-day basis. So just hearing him every day being loud, it really allows for us to embrace that and you gravitate towards that level of he brings. You gravitate towards that.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
That's it for Player of the Day.